Still
Hey
here jamming.
there, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Hey, hey, hey. I be over here jamming while the intro be playing, y'all. Like, hey.
I know, right?
Now
We are
some good music.
back. Yes, be thumping a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But we is back, and it's the eve before the Christmas holiday. Okay, if you celebrate and eat some good food. And if you're not, wherever you are in this world, I hope that you remember that you are loved, you are supported, you are not alone. I want to start there because I know the holidays are sometimes a really challenging time for people if you're away from your family, whether you're traveling for work or military or estranged from your family for whatever the reason. It can be a really challenging time to not be with the people that you love, even if you're close proximity, to still not be able to connect with them, right? Maybe you don't have a big family, you don't have a lot of family members left. So, whatever that looks like for you, if you're
Right.
celebrating or not, y'all, I hope that you remember that you are loved, even if not by the people around you, by whatever it is that you believe in, God, source, spirit, goddess, collective energy, divine love, whatever you call it, you
Right.
are loved and you are supported. Okay. All right. Let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. Sean, I'm gonna let you kick us off tonight because this was your topic I did. So take it away, dive in. Let's get started.
All right, so yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. For those that are in the Christmas spirit, and for those that aren't, I feel you. But hey, it's my favorite holiday. I love it. I can't lie. But now my topic is, although it's Christmas time, and yeah, sex is not a Christmas gift. I don't care how you try to slice it, cut it, or wrap it up in a bow. At the end of the day, if you're in a truly healthy relationship with someone, then sex should not be used as a tool or weapon. You shouldn't have to be waiting for a special occasion, to have sex. So it shouldn't have to be like, oh, well, it's Christmas. I'm going to give you some sex. Like that just should not be a thing. I don't know why people feel that way, why people act that way. Now, if you want to give gifts and then wrap yourself up in a bow as something extra, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Right.
But to just straight up want to make sex your Christmas gift, unless that's the level you on with that person. If that's not your person, but just somebody that you see here and there, then cool. All right, sex could be a Christmas gift because both y'all getting the gift. But at the end
I
of
mean,
the
I
day,
was gonna say mine always tell me I am the gift. Anything else is just extra, and I'm here for that.
I,
But that being said, I do believe that sex should not be the only gift. No, like you
exactly,
know what I'm saying. It got to be
Right.
something else going on to celebrate the purpose and celebrate the people.
Right.
exactly. Especially like for women like that want to, head is for special occasions. Like no, that's for every day, but because every day I wake up is a special occasion. I ain't
That
have to wake
part.
up today.
You know how
So
many people thought they were gonna wake up tomorrow and didn't?
Exactly.
facts, facts. Because I promise you, I just saw like as I was scrolling before I jumped in here to connect with y'all, I just saw like two people saying, I hate to tell y'all, but so and so passed, and one of them was somebody's husband, and somebody was, cousin or whatever. And I'm like, "Ooh,
Hmm.
life is not promised. Ain't none of us getting out of here alive or unscathed, but we sometimes really don't know how long we're gonna be here. And that's a
Right.
man, that's a trip.
Yeah, it is. It is,
That's a
and
trip.
yeah, and that's the thing because
Because I think we get caught up in the arrogancy of shit. I'm invincible. I was talking about
Mhm.
that with somebody a couple of days ago. Like when you're in your 20s and your 30s, man, I don't know about y'all, but I even through the health injuries and all that stuff from the car accident, like there was still this part of me that was like, you talk about I'm invincible. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? There's this audacity that we have that hasn't totally been stomped out by the bullshit of life. Then it's like by the time you get to your 40s and shit start hurting and joints start feeling different, you be like,
Man,
wait,
feel like replacement parts. They just, hey,
you be like, let me rethink this thing. Let me let me
right.
reconsider. you know. But
so
that being said, sex as a Christmas gift. What made you think we should talk about this? I mean, obviously, holiday Christmas is tomorrow, but what else brought this to mind?
Just conversations I had with people where people feel like that's an okay gift to give. Hey, they feel like, oh, it's okay to
That's
just
a cheap ass gift to
Ooh,
give.
but that's the thing. So it's
shots
supposed to be
fired.
special occasions like Christmas, birthdays.
Mm,
But what you supposed to do the rest of the time?
And besides that, the gift is used.
well,
Well,
And you don't know how used either, because folks lie.
I
uh,
mean, that's true too. It may not be that used, but then again, it may be.
That bitch may have high mileage. They may roll back that engine.
Mhm.
oh God. So that brings up. Let me throw this out here. Okay.
It need an
Yes.
oil change, a tune up, and a timing belt.
Ah, my God, my God, my God. So let me throw this out here because I'm in this Facebook group. I don't even know the name of it, but it's some type of group for like dating, and I don't know what the fuck they be talking about. Really, I don't even know. I've been in the group for years. Don't know how I got in there, but I pop in there every once in a while and like peep out what they be talking about, right? For content ideas. And so today, yesterday, day before, somewhere in the past few days, I end up seeing this post and a lady, the lady, this shit went left real quick. So it was a lady who posted and she was asking in general, it wasn't aimed, I'm sorry, something got in my eye. It wasn't aimed at anybody directly, but in general, she was just asking, like, hey, where are the men in here that are gainfully employed, got their own everything and are
I
truly
think you and
looking.
I are in the same group.
Did
I
you see
can't think of
the
what
post?
that group is.
I don't know, but they be on some fuck shit. Cause I'm like,
They
how was y'all
do.
adults talking about y'all want to date? And the post be the randomest shit. But I do stay in there because again, it's great content for whenever I've done the sex panels, well, SIP panels, sex intimacy power. Now doing the podcast. I try to peep in there and see what they're talking about when I'm having to think through things clients are talking to me about,
Mm-hmm.
well-rounded context. But anyway, back to this post. So that being said, um, it- first of all, it's interesting to me, and Sean, I would love your take as a man. It's interesting to me how that had so many men responding in such a nasty
Mm-hmm.
way, and I'm
Yep,
interpreting it
they
as
were
a nasty way.
nasty.
That may not have been their intention, but that's how I interpret it. Because you had so many men jumping on there, like, and one dude literally said something along these lines. I'm paraphrasing, but this was what he said. So while you asking for that, basically, what's the mileage on your vagina?
Mm-hmm.
You understand how many miles you got around the block since you asking to
Mm-hmm.
do it? And I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with the question that she asked? Does a man have gainful employment and a place to stay? How did this turn into
Mm-hmm.
a body count conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Which then went left because everybody
Deflection.
started commenting on that and they were going back and forth in the comments. Then we had a dude that literally started fucking mansplaining to the women in the comments how women feel and respond
Mm-hmm.
to either used penis, because this is literally what they were saying. Used penis because don't nobody want somebody that don't have no experience. And when the women tried to say, not wanting somebody who has no experience is not the same fucking thing as wanting somebody who don't hold up and down the eastern seaboard.
We
Those
don't
are
want no community dick.
well on a community dig. You got to have some semblance of self-respect. You understand? So as the women were commenting and saying, but what did this have to do with this? Then more men got in the comments, well, y'all don't know what y'all want. And literally started mansplaining more to the women about how women think and how women feel and how women approach. And I was like,
Right.
again, how did we get from the question of are there men that truly have their lives together in jet? It is the gist of it to body count.
You know what it is. It's deflection because we got a lot of soft ass men that don't have their shit together. They may be gainfully employed, but they got a rack of damn child support coming out.
Ooh, okay.
So, there's that. And I hate to say this. You remember we talked about this a few weeks ago about men being in competition with women, especially
Yeah,
with women that they date, and they don't. There was, I
yeah,
think you and I was on that same. There was another one where they were asking about. They were asking women how much, what's the minimum a man has to make to date you, and it's like enough to take care of himself, and
right. I don't know if I saw that one, but that's a good conversation
yeah,
too.
enough to take care of himself, and still participate in my lifestyle. You're not, I'm not asking you to go everywhere I go and do everything I do, but hell, be able to take care of your own stuff. I mean, if you was paying your bills before you met me, which you were, then don't ask me for shit.
Well, I
Keep it
mean,
moving.
how you know he was paying his bills before he met you? You don't
Well,
know.
whatever. You was somehow you had that place that you staying in, unless you a homosexual and you ain't staying in no place by yourself.
I mean, hey, he could have had a magic stick and just had somebody paying for it.
That's what it is. Then that's the homosexual.
No, I understand that.
You
I'm
got
just
shit to do with practice.
my thing is this. At the end of the day, it's a lot. Uh, I've noticed that there are a lot of men out here nowadays that have inferiority complexes. I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm.
Because look, at the end of the day, I don't care how much a woman makes. She can make 5 times as much as I do.
Right.
If I want her, then I'm gonna do my best to get her. And if she said you don't make enough money for me, eh, okay, that might be true. But why don't we go back here in this bedroom and talk real quick, and then let me know what you think. But if you ain't trying to do that, that's fine. My feelings ain't hurt. Cause do you know how many women there are out there?
Well,
But
I
see, that's
still
the
didn't understand
thing.
in the context of this post that I mentioned. Like I said,
But
I, I still just couldn't understand how it started. Of do you have are there men here who have? I'm assuming she wanted to meet these eligible bachelors, right, and see what became possible. How that went left with the first man trying to justify the response of body count, and then all these other men following through and
that's
just doubling fucking down on it.
but that's why
Because, well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something else too, though. Sometimes that's what they lead with when they have nothing else going on.
but
I
that's
mean,
If,
that's
yeah.
because have you ever noticed a man that leads with his pockets usually don't have a good personality or whatever? A man that leads with sex, he probably don't have shit going on outside of that. That's the thing is they lead with what they feel like works. Now that worked when you were in your 20s, but you can't be leading with, you know,
nah. But the reason why, and that's why I said an inferiority complex, because at this point, these men they don't have the confidence to just be like boom bam.
Mm.
And so I mean, but also the flip side of that is, a lot of men are getting more and more tired of women wanting to be taken care of.
I'm glad you said so. I had a this actually happened earlier today. I had a conversation with a gentleman, um, we'll say 50 plus.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about this. I mentioned um, some of the things that we've talked about previously on the podcast episodes, as well as a lot of things I hear people say. And
mhm.
I said to him, my thoughts, and again, I'm speaking from the feminine, my perspective as a woman. But my thought is, and I stand on this, I've never heard a man that feels settled financially. Now, he may not be exactly where he intends to end up, but he knows that he has accomplished enough to feel comfortable. He feels
Mhm.
steady. He feels good about where he's at and where he's going. I've never heard that man, whatever he may be making, whether he's a 9 to 5 blue collar man or got 6 or 7 figures or 8 figures in the bank, right? I've never heard that type of man talk about, I don't want to take care of no woman, or I don't want her to want me, Now you got somebody like,
Mhm.
I think they said Andre 3000 had that concern because, okay, I get it. Once you get to that place in your space and you haven't had, people around you, the new people are suspect coming in. We understand that.
Mhm.
But this ain't that. The only men I've ever really heard talk about not wanting to do something for a woman or being more focused on is that her thing that she wants from them, or the men who really don't feel like they have it to share or give. And so he made a statement and said he used to hear a lot of older men say they wish they had done differently. They wish they had not given as much money to women because now in their older years, they don't have what they need. I said, but you said something key. In their older years, they don't have what they need, meaning they was out there fucking around, fucking off, giving all their shit to the wrong people instead of being discerning and choosing maybe one woman to settle down with. You was out there being a trick and a sugar
Mhm.
daddy instead of being focused on building something with somebody, and you didn't appropriately plan for your latter years. So now that you're in your latter years, you're regretting all the things that you did when you were younger. And that has less to do with the women that you gave money to in your own bad decisions, right? And so, the final
Mhm.
thing that I said to him was, and I'm not saying every woman feels the same, but this is my stance on it. The final thing I said was, I don't see anything wrong with a provider type man if that's how he sees himself, taking
Right.
care of the household, taking care of his woman, if he has the financial resources to do so. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that that woman needs to be just resting on her laurels in the bed, napping all day while he working 18-hour shifts to make that happen. If he's wanting to take care of the financial payload and work and do other things, then what is she doing to help make sure that the household runs efficiently? What is she doing to help make sure his life is
Right.
easier so he can work and handle that job? What is she doing to help take that money and multiply it? Whether it be running a business, whether it be investing, whether it be saving, whether whatever it is, how is she participating in that partnership so that his work ethic last them longer than that current season that they're in? And you know what he said? I wholeheartedly agree. And so my point is, I think a lot of times, and this just came up because one of my Facebook friends posted about it yesterday, the 50-50 conversation. And she felt like it was really divisive. And my response to her was, we talk about it, but we don't talk about it here from the point of being divisive or
Right.
salacious and just wanting to get people talking. We are talking about it from the standpoint of, you need to be able to have these fucking conversations. You shouldn't be fucking nobody and you shouldn't be marrying anybody if you are afraid to talk about finances
Right.
and afraid to admit where you are, what you can handle, what you need, and what your demands and expectations are, right? Like, we need to have these conversations because too many people are falling in love with dick and vagina and then
They're
getting
not
married
falling in love. They be falling in and looking for help.
looking for help, lust, whatever it may be, but they're not having these conversations. Then they end up bitter because they got a woman that expects them to take care of the household or because they got a man that can't. That's my thought on that.
But the thing is, like, what? Because I know some 6 and 7 figure niggas that, yeah, they like, nah, we going 50-50.
Then nah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I mean, hey, that's your prerogative. I don't knock it. Do you? At this point in my life, yeah, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, we going 50-50. I mean, unless I got 10 million in the bank, then I'm not going to care. But other than that, yeah, we going 50-50. It is what it is. Now, I'm not going to say on everything, but like on certain things.
Mhm.
Now,
But
what is your 50-50? Define that, because what we've talked about in the past is the issue is those people that would literally nickel and dime a person. If I'm paying 125.37, you gonna pay the other 125.37, like down to the penny,
yeah, so no,
instead of partnership on figuring out what works.
yeah, I'm not.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, 50-50 would be like, all right, I'm paying the mortgage, and I got this bill, you got those bills right there. Even if they don't add up to what the mortgage and this bill is, that's fine. It's just handle that because that's something
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
that's one less thing off my plate. Handle that. I know you make enough to take care of that. Go ahead and handle that. I got the big stuff. I don't have a problem with doing it. But at the flip side, when you've done it and came out on the short end, then it's like, damn, I don't think I'll ever do that again. Because here you done took care of this woman and her child, and then one day she just decides, oh, I want to be in a relationship no more and bounces.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because people think the grass is greener on the other side until they realize that shit got to be watered and mowed too.
It all takes work.
It
It all
all
takes.
takes work.
And like I
And
said,
so,
I don't think most women are going to complain if a man says, well, and again, I say most, not all, because, there's always an exception. The average woman that I have come across is not going to be upset that a man who loves her and wants to be of help in the relationship and be a true partner says, hey, based on my salary, I can afford to carry, the big bills, do this, and this. And based on your salary, you can handle these things. The average woman that I know is not going to be upset with that. She's going to say,
right.
you know what, shit, let's handle it. And if that man should, for whatever reason, God forbid, be incapacitated, if he done held it down, you know what she finna do? Do whatever the fuck she gotta do to make sure they stay good until he's back on his feet. The problem is, like I said, a lot of these men will start the conversations, and before we get too far off of this, but just to say this, a lot of the men, the complaints that I hear from women are, a lot of the men will start the conversation, well, what are you bringing to the table? Or some variation of, I don't want no woman that want to be taken care of, whatever that may sound like, because they have had a negative experience in the past, or because they've never seen it modeled. And instead of being able to have a conversation with that woman to discern where she's at, what's her mindset, how does she respond to a man wanting to come into partnership with her, they're solely basing it off the ratchet shit they've seen on TV, some bad experience they had in the past, some bad experience they saw somebody else go through. And so now they're judging this woman because she has the expectation that you're a grown ass man. Yes, I expect you to come to the table with certain things if you want to be the man in my life.
You know
And so
what?
the conversation just starts off upside down instead of
Hmm.
two people being able to communicate right where they are and figure out, does this make sense? And what does this look like for us?
What
And
you
everybody
need,
gets offended and in their feelings.
what you need to do when anybody comes to you and asks you, what do you bring to the table? You need to be able to answer that question. And you know what my answer is?
Mm.
My answer is, I am the fucking table.
Hey.
And if I don't like what's being brought to the table, I'm gonna pick the table up and move it.
So you just gonna take your toys and go home.
Yup.
Because I'm a whole Sagittarius and we
On
don't
the
like
whole table.
taking all
On
my
the
shit.
whole table. And that's the whole thing though, is who also says that. I'm looking at what Shirt said. You know what I found, that people who also say that are a lot of the men who used to be able to juggle a lot of women when they was in their 20s and 30s. They had it going on when they was in their 20s and 30s and juggling all these women and this, that, and the other, right? And again, leading off their dick or their looks. And then when they get older, they realize that you really ain't bringing nothing to the table. Older women don't want to be bothered with just you and your good looking ass, because guess what? I could just go and rent one if I just want somebody to look at.
I mean, that's true too. And to circle it back to the topic of sex is not a gift.
That
Um, you know, there are a lot of people that feel like, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but I do understand there are a lot of people that feel like their mere presence is a gift to you. Like the fact that you get to breathe the same air that they breathe, men and women, right? The
Mhm.
fact that you get to breathe the same air that they breathe, you are lucky. So you better take whatever they're going to give. I feel like gift giving is one of my love languages. So I may look at it different, but for me, it's a way to just love on the people that I love, to honor them, to show them that they're on my mind, whether it's a special occasion that I'm getting something for them, or whether I'm in the store and I just see something that makes me think about them, or I hear them mention something that they want or liked, or took notice of. Those are the things I file away in the back of my mind, and when I see them, or I find an opportunity, I grab them. And I love giving people gifts just because, right? But
right,
and so I think a lot of times when it comes to someone giving sex as a gift, I think that's an overinflated sense of self in relation to the other person that's in the relationship with you. And it's all focused on self pleasure, self pleasing,
Mhm.
selfishness instead of creating a partnership experience with this other
Right.
person. Whether you love them, like them, or tolerate them, I think makes a big difference in how you respond to honoring them and celebrating them. If I
Right.
don't really like you, I ain't finna spend a whole bunch of money. I don't care how much I like gift giving. You ain't finna get it because I don't really
Right.
fuck with you
But
like that. You know what I'm
you
saying?
don't have to spend a lot of money to give a gift, though. It could be a cheap gift. It could be something from Five Below.
It could be 50 cents. If I don't like you, I
But
ain't finna do it.
if you don't like somebody, you shouldn't be dealing with them.
But I'm saying that to make a point. Because how many people do you know in a relationship and you be like, damn, they don't really like each other. You notice that
Right.
based on how they talk about each other and how they treat each other. And so I'm
Mhm.
saying that to make a point. I think a lot of people are like that because they don't really like the person that they're with. They may have started off liking them, they may have started off loving them, but through bitterness, resentment, anger, hurt, trauma, pain, whatever, you got a
Yep.
lot of people that are with people that they're simply tolerating. You know what I'm saying? And that is reflected in the gifts that they give or don't give. Whereas on the flip side of that, I agree with you. I've gotten people nice things from the Five and Below, from the Dollar Tree, from Walmart, from Target, from Neiman Marcus, from all kind of stores. Because it's not about the amount; it's about, oh, I see this and I think of this person, or they mentioned this before. Let me get this for them because I get excited at the thought of giving them something that brings them joy, right? But when
Right.
you have people that just tolerating each other,
Yeah, I mean, and that's crazy right there because I don't understand that. You need to go ahead and move on and go about your business.
But see, that's the problem is a lot of them can't afford to move on because they done built this
yeah,
lifestyle based on two income household,
Yeah,
so they can't afford to leave. And if you can't afford to leave, then my man, you a prisoner.
yeah.
You ain't you you ain't in a relationship. You a prisoner.
Why are you in that position? Why did you put yourself in that position? Because if it's 50-50, that means I got more money to put aside so that if it
And
goes
yeah.
south, I can get up and move and make shit happen.
But see, that's the thing is a lot of people also think about this. If you're paying 50-50, a lot of times there's a lifestyle they've got accustomed to that they cannot afford on their own. And they don't want to
yeah.
degrade, they don't want to downgrade their lifestyle.
Yeah, so why put yourself in that? I'm sorry, I just
I know that's what I'm saying. And that's where I am. Because that's why there's a lot of folks that are either with somebody they can't stand anymore. And see, full disclosure, been there, done that. When I got to the point where I didn't even like the way his car looked parked in the parking spot,
What the
I
hell?
I left.
Okay,
but
that got
yeah,
real.
Like for real. Like the thing is that so when we lived in the condo building, you could come in two different ways. But I would
Mm.
purposely come in the way where I would have to pass his parking spot to see if he was home. And then it would irritate my soul if he was.
now
And when it got to that point, I left. But see, that's the difference. The difference is that my lifestyle was never based on both of our incomes.
and
My lifestyle wasn't based on that.
that's
And
my
so
point.
I could afford to leave. Leave, pack my shit, and move 4 states away.
That's my point. Why put yourself in that situation? That makes no sense.
Because again, there are people who they would rather keep up appearances too. That's another reason why some people don't leave. They want to keep up appearances.
Man.
They'd rather have a piece of man than have no man just because society says they should.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because falling into these society norms, like that's the biggest issue right now, and that's part of the reason that I wanted to touch on why those guys are acting the way they're acting because of this whole society, the societal norm of
Hmm.
the division between men and women, especially
Right.
black men and women. and so many people make it an issue that, oh, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that. And black women on the other hand, oh, I can't date a man unless he buy me a Birkin bag or he taking me here on the first date. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why are we doing it? Why? So we do. What other race does that?
Oh, don't act like other races don't do it, because they do. They
Wait,
do.
okay, so
Trust and
Let me
believe.
tell you something. Do you know
who's
how many?
sensationalizing it? Who's
Do you?
sensationalizing that? I said, who is sensationalizing it? Let me ask that, because I don't see no other post on there where it's like,
You
I
must
see
not have
other
watched
people that
Ultimate. You must not have watched Ultimatum, Love Is Blind, all these different.
do.
oh, I don't watch reality shows. They
But
do.
that's what I'm trying to tell you is
I'm just talking about what's on social media.
they sensationalize it too.
I'm just talking
Yeah.
about what's on social
I see.
media.
The thing is, but see, that's the thing is they do sensationalize it, but you don't tune in, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't know that they
But but that's
sensationalize it.
All
that's
those posts are
akin to people
bullshit.
thinking that only black women wear weave when almost every white woman I
I've
have ever met
seen
wears
a
weave.
bunch of white
You
women that wear
understand?
weave.
Almost every white woman I have ever met wears weave, and
Mhm.
Latino, and Hispanic, and Mexican, and a lot of Indians and Iranians and Arabians, and other
And I
like
understand that. But,
everybody.
but
So it's
my
the same
question
thing.
is, when you go on social media, who do you see on there the most with their podcasts or their little clips of going back and forth, or women on there with their podcasts putting men down, and men on there with their podcasts putting women down? It's mostly the black people.
That okay, so let me throw this out here. Not y'all forgive me because I don't know the name, but y'all probably have seen the
Kevin
podcast.
Samuels.
Mm-mm.
Kevin
It's
Samuels
a
used to put black women down all the time.
well,
But
okay, so
but
but
then there's also, but wait, you said other races. There's other races out there that have like podcasts and
Who
shows
are
and
they?
stuff.
Who are they?
okay, so I'm gonna go through and see if I can find it. There was and y'all know who I'm talking about. I know you know who I'm talking about because I believe I shared it in the
I know
chat.
Howard Stern
But
used to do it.
he was horrible.
He's
But
horrible.
He was just
let
hard
but
on women, period. But he wasn't like men shouldn't date women unless they could do X, Y, and Z. He wasn't like that. He was
no,
just a
but
sex
you
like.
gotta understand, Sean. Here's where I'm going with this. Much of what we see on social media is based on what we look at and what we respond to. So if you typically ain't following a whole bunch of white stuff and white people and white podcasts and whoever else's stuff, then you're not going to see that. You're going to keep seeing the repetition of what the algorithm says you want to see. So you're seeing that because that's what you view, right? Just like I
Mhm.
see a lot more outlandish shit because I go looking for it in the groups intentionally to get content ideas, to see
Mhm.
what people are talking about. So that when my clients come to me and say the crazy shit, I'm like, okay, you know what? I've heard of that. I'm already kind of aware, but give me more insight. You get what I'm saying? So what I'm seeing
Mhm.
is going to be very different than what you're seeing. It ain't that it's not out there. They ass is just as fucking ghetto. Another example is the bonnet discussion. The bonnets were horrible, ghetto, ratchet, and bullshit when it was only black women wearing them. Now you got white women normalizing them. Okay, braids and ethnic hairstyles were ghetto as fuck and ratchet and hood when it was black women wearing them, even when they were nicely styled and very professionally done and very well put together. Then when white women wanted to wear them and the Kardashian ass hats wanted to wear them,
Mhm.
now all of a sudden they're refined
They're
and
in vogue.
all this other bullshit. They're in
But
vogue.
did
So
y'all see that
they're
white
out there and
woman?
they're doing the same shit
Did
because you
y'all?
got Kim Kardashian, you
I
got
mean,
all these other people that are not black.
they
Hold
fucked
on.
up.
Wait a
Wait a
minute,
minute.
Sean. There's
Hold on though.
something.
You got all these other people out there that are not black that are saying the same shit that black women share.
Clarksville.
The only difference is
I mean,
when they say it is okay
hey,
because they're not
hey,
seen as aggressive and angry as black women are. That's the
hey,
only
hey,
difference.
hey, hey.
Let me tell you
My
something, Sean.
problem. Hold on, wait. My problem ain't with what's being said, or who. No, let me say this. My problem ain't with who's saying it. My problem is how they're carrying it. Now, fuck the Kardashians. They always fuck niggas up. Fuck them. But
I'm with you.
did y'all see that white woman that said she invented bonnets?
Who?
Look at it. She came out with her little bonnet line. She's like, "Oh, I invented bonnets." Like, what the fuck? But anyway, back to the discussion at hand.
Okay, but wait a minute. I need to tell you something,
My
Sean.
thing, hold on, no,
Just like what
fuck
Jay just
everybody else.
hold on.
No,
Jay just said, hold on. Jay just
let
said
me finish.
it depends on what you follow.
Let
And
me.
there's a whole group of ratchet ass white people in Clarksville. There's a group called Clarksville T. Don't even know how the fuck I got in this group. And they ratchet as shit. And most of the posts is about by them, about them.
I don't care. Fuck them.
Okay.
I don't even know where Clarksville is. Fuck them.
It's in Tennessee.
Okay. Fuck them. But
I know how I got in there. But go ahead.
What I was saying was, it's all about, and instead of us, I mean, because I don't really care what other races are doing. What I care about is what we doing as a race.
Well, don't mention it then.
And why we gotta be against each other when we can fucking actually talk shit out. I mean, because shit wasn't always this way. But because of what society says,
the societal plan, that's always been the design, divide and conquer. And we keep falling victim to it. This is why we're doing this podcast right here.
That's my problem, because why are we falling into that?
I have so many thoughts on that. Really, I do. But
you know, the thing, okay, so I'm gonna tell you why I think that there is a divine plan to eradicate us from society.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Black people. And so, of course, that's why they are promoting a lot of interracial relationships now. I mean, at one time that shit was a crime. Now it's on every damn commercial, every show.
What is a crime?
Like, seriously, at one time it was a crime, but now you're very rarely going to see a black couple or a white couple. Oh. You're going to see a mixed race relationship on all. That's what they're pushing on these shows, right? That's what they're pushing when they're doing the commercials. Like, I remember when they did that on the Cheerios commercial. And the only reason I remember that is because it was a cute little girl and she was biracial, and white folks lost their damn mind.
They cut the fuck up.
The fuck up.
I remember.
They cut up. Because yes.
But that's, you know, to bring us back to center to the last question that you just asked, Sean, like, why are we so divided? Again, I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I think that's the topic for another day that we can take more time so we don't have to rush. But for the sake of, you know, my response, again, this is literally one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast. You know, we talk about things that are sensational because they need to be talked about, not because we want to just go viral talking about them, but because we're trying to have real conversation that hopefully somebody's going to listen to and take back and talk to their spouse or their friend or their bestie or their parent or their kid or whoever, and continue to normalize sex and destigmatize being, you know, sexually active, destigmatize being focused on creating pleasure, destigmatize being in your spiritual journey, destigmatize wanting to fucking heal and grow, right? We need to continue to work on destigmatizing going to therapy. That's the reason a lot of us are still divided. And I'm not talking about just because you have mental health issues. Your ass, all of us need to be in therapy, whether we have a mental health issue or not. Because most of us are traumatized from the bullshit that we went through in childhood. Because
most of us are traumatized just from the very first thing, and you don't even realize you're traumatized. You know what it is? Birth.
Very true.
Because think about this. I'm going to tell you why I say that. Because from the time that you're conceived, you're attached to someone. You hear someone else's heartbeat. You know that somebody else is there. The first thing that happens to you when you're born is you're ripped away from somebody in this cold world all by yourself with bright lights and shit. And the first thing you doing is hollering because you're like, what the fuck just happened? Where happened? Right? But it's trauma that you don't remember mentally, but your body remembers.
Very true.
Your body remembers it. Why do you think we all have a problem? You may say, oh, I don't. We do have a problem with no support, or we have a problem when we're alone and feel vulnerable and things like that. That's a very real thing.
Well, I mean, that's called failure to thrive. Right. They've
Right.
done enough studies to recognize that even if you look at babies that are held and touched and nurtured, thrive very differently than babies and children who are not, right? But again, even looking at our adulthood, where I was going with that is we're all traumatized from our childhood because our parents were traumatized, especially in our community. We're not talking about
Mhm.
everybody, we're talking about us right quick.
Right.
We're traumatized because our parents were traumatized, because their parents were traumatized, because their parents were traumatized, because they're, and keep going back. So now we're talking about epigenetics. Now we're talking about DNA, because a woman and a man coming together to conceive a baby, all that DNA mixes together and contains all the memories and experiences that they have experienced up to that point. So now that child is born immediately into all of that and then thrown into still trying to figure out who they are in the world. Most of us have grown up in religious households where we weren't allowed to ask questions. That's another layer of trauma. Many of us were grown up in households where we were forced to participate in religion, whether we wanted to or not. That's another layer of
Mhm.
trauma. Many of us experienced growing up without being able to have those conversations with our mom or our dad, male or female, about having
Mhm.
a healthy curiosity about sex, understanding what sex was, being able to navigate
Mhm.
your first crush, or what is going to happen when you have your first cycle. So now you have girls having their first cycle and being afraid to tell anybody because nobody talked to them about it. Now you
Right.
have 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, etc., fucking because they're curious, or they saw it on TV, or they heard somebody else talk about it. And parents are saying, I'm not going to talk to them about that. They not ready yet. They not old enough
Or
yet. They
they've been
already fucking with
molested.
you. They're not ready.
Or they're being molested
Being
and
tested
they're
and being
being
forced to sit
made
at the
to
table
think.
with the abuser because people are more focused on optics. Ain't a motherfucker in the world, and I stand on this shit, ain't a motherfucker in the world that could ever convince me, if I had birthed my children, to sit at a table with somebody that abused me and expect me to let my children sit around. First of all, I'm
Right.
gonna be in jail for killing them. Second of all, you're not gonna ever sit in a room with my children. But how many of us were forced to do it for years?
Mhm.
You understand? Because somebody wanted to keep Uncle Tom happy or Uncle Auntie Pat happy. Then on top of that, we get into adulthood, and now we're dating without any real semblance of self-awareness, let alone trying to understand somebody else. So now we traumatizing each other. We break up, we go fuck other people, get married, date, have kids, do whatever. We traumatize each other. We break up, we get divorced, and over and over and over again. I have a lot of thoughts, but that's the general of what I think is a big part of why we're here. And we're still, even right now in 2024, as we go into 2025, still very real dealing with the effects of slavery because it is still in our DNA. It is still being passed down through the mindset.
The other
This is
thing
why you have so
is
many
that
families that will stay in the ghetto 5, 6 generations.
instead of whips and chains, though, they use your desire to obtain what you think is like stuff and
Mm-hmm.
and a semblance of belonging and stuff like that. So there's a different kind of slavery, but it's still a slavery.
I mean, that's why they tailor things the way they tailor. I mean, rap videos don't talk about all the bling bling for no reason. That's because that's what the white executives tell them. Hey, we want a song
Yep.
about this, about that. I
Yep.
mean,
And sex, because they want you to keep having babies and staying poor. They
they
want you to keep having babies and staying broke, never getting enough
They don't
to,
want you to get an
to get ahead.
education.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. That's the big agenda right now. Why do you
Yeah.
think they want the Department of Ed to go away?
Hmm.
They want the Department of Ed to go away because, see, when back in the day when we were having to educate ourselves, there were a few of us that were privileged enough to go to school and then come back to the community and teach. But we probably were better off when we did that
Yeah.
because when we demanded that they treat us equally, what they did is they put schools in our neighborhoods, but our school books are like 7 editions behind everybody else's. Um, like I can't tell you how many books that were still in circulation that was still talking about Pluto being a planet when they said it isn't anymore.
Hmm.
You
I mean,
know, those
What is it
those
now? Because it was declassified as a planet, then it was classified again as a planet. So where's it stand now?
I don't know, but that's the whole thing though. And but I'm gonna tell you something. The thing is that they've led our children to believe, first of all,
That they weren't good enough.
not only that they're not good enough,
Yeah,
but the only way that they can be anything is through sports or entertainment. And so now they out here with the OnlyFans screwing on. What I'm just saying.
I mean,
I'm
hey,
just
I don't knock nobody for how they make their bag, but I mean, because it's it's a couple of women became millionaires off OnlyFans.
Well, you saw that little girl, but see, let me tell you something. Now, had she been black, they'd have vilified her.
I
But did
understand.
you see that little white girl the other week that went in there and screwed 100 guys in one day
I ain't know nothing about.
on film?
I don't want to know nothing about that.
On film, and folks was in there paying to see
Hey, that's her business. I
in
don't.
one
but
day.
I don't even know how you make it through
but
that.
the point is, Sean, you're saying that it's only black women or black people, and so what we're trying to show you is it's not.
It's
And
No,
this
not.
girl literally
I understand.
publicized,
We're
I
and
trying to
now
show
she's
you
trying
that it's not.
to
understand
now
what y'all
she's trying to
saying.
go for another record above that one.
So let me
She sure
clear.
is.
Let me clarify. And then I mean I wasn't talking nothing about the OnlyFans. I don't know nobody how they get their bag. You do you. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's the whole thing is all of that is around.
Nah, somebody screwing 100 people don't got nothing to do with what I'm talking. What I'm talking about is the straight up the relationship between the black man and the black woman, and
But
how
I think all is relevant though, because we
instead
see
of
that
all,
stuff
but
and
instead of
see it as
us
an ideal.
fighting each other, let's talk to each other. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I'm not making the 7 figures you want me to make to take care of you, but that don't mean we can't have a conversation and figure that out. Versus you coming to me or me coming to you, what you bringing to the table. Now let's talk to each
Yeah.
other. Let's get to know each other because you know what? At the end of the day, that might not matter when we get to know each other. Be like, oh, you like to go fishing too? I love to fish. We should just go
Mhm.
fishing one day and things of that
Hey,
nature.
Sean, I love fishing too, brother.
I feel you. That's what I'm saying. So, you won't know that if you coming out talking about, oh, well, I got to go to a 4-star Michelin restaurant on the first date. That's where you got to take me if you want to get to know me. Of course, I mean, now the brothers that get it that way, they gonna do it. But the brothers that ain't worried that don't use their wallet to get women, they're not gonna do that because I'm like, you crazy. I don't even know you.
Yeah. Let me
But
take one
if
second
I
to catch up on the
take
comments.
let's go in the comments.
Yeah, let me take 1 second to catch up on the comments and then we'll pick up. So Sher was saying she's not doing 50-50 because we're both bringing the table. He'll stay at his house and I'll stay at mine until we decide to build our own. A lot of men do not have the finances to cover a woman. Some men want women to conform to their criteria. Nadina said, I'm a giver. It's my love language. I don't expect nothing in return. Sure said, people are very materialistic and mistake how deep a person's pockets for how much he or she loves them. Now, that's the whole truth right there. They have trauma and have not healed. I know someone like that. She married for show. Listen, there's so many people out there marrying just so they can get the ring, just so they can have the fancy wedding or the dress, just so they can tell their boys they bagged her, just so they can show off. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking insane. Sure said it happens in all races, creeds, and nationalities. And Nate said, the world is the devil's playground. This is a place where it's good to be bad and bad to be good. We're led to believe to follow the wider path of the majority and not the narrow path of doing right.
Hmm. But
And so,
that's the whole thing is a lot of people aren't in the marriage for the marriage. They're in the
yeah,
marriage for the wedding.
And that's
yeah,
crazy. That's
The
crazy.
hard
yeah,
part, the hard
That's
part of a wedding store. I mean, hard part of a wedding starts the second day. I'm in the wedding business, and I tell folks all the time, the easy part is just wedding. And first of all, let me say this, man. Merry Christmas. I know I'm just pulling on. Merry Christmas
Mhm.
to everybody. Sean, Jay, And my little
See,
love lady
oh
up there in
man,
my corner.
This
I'm
dude right
sending all my
and
love
we
to
was wondering
DC,
where you
baby.
was.
This dude right here, bro.
Hey, listen up. Hey, but on a serious note,
Merry
man,
Christmas.
I would Merry Christmas, everybody. I'm so excited. I got myself probably one of the best gifts I have ever gotten in my life. Well, I gave it to myself, and it was man, and it's something as simple as what I did. I had a old VHS tape, and they had some video of my mom and a couple other relatives who's not with me this Christmas,
Wow.
and I hadn't seen, and they've been gone and on the other side of him for several years, almost 10 years. Man, it just got a chance to see him. Man, it was just almost, it was just literally just amazing. And I tell anybody else, man, if you have old videos, go ahead, and go ahead and digitize them things and go back and look at them. You may have to go back and look at that VHS tape that you got that's blank. Be careful what you're looking at, though. So,
I can make them kind of tapes. That's you and Sean. That's why y'all laughing so hard.
hey,
Y'all got
Jay
to be
know
worried
about it
about
too.
what
That's
quick you
why she
looking at
laughing.
doing too much.
Hey, ain't nothing
Hey,
wrong with making those type of tapes.
hey, if you got a blank VHS tape, it's in a box somewhere in the attic. Hey, don't look at it. Not around folks. Look at it by yourself first.
Got to be careful. But listen, old man, to catch you up real quick, where we started was we were talking about, the topic Sean brought up last time, that sex is not a gift. And we kind of circled through and talked about, the fact that there is such a divisive space between our community, between men and women. I shared the example that there was a woman in some Facebook group I'm in, and she did a post basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing, but she did a post basically saying, where the men in here that are gainfully employed, have their own things, they're stable, right? And that turned into quite a few men being kind of sassy in the comments. I think it's real
Now I
sassy.
don't like that word. I don't like that word.
Let me let me
It's
finish.
true
Describe that
though.
man.
Let me
Don't act
finish. Let me
sassy. You
finish.
wouldn't be labeled
Now,
sassy.
now the reason because I didn't even say that word earlier, but the reason I chose to say it, I typically will view a man as sassy when he's coming off saying, I'm an alpha man, I'm a masculine man, but you sitting up here arguing with women in the comments. How does that make sense? If you feel like you're a masculine man, you're an alpha man, you're a leader, and a few people brought that up in the comments. If you're going to say that you're a leader, how are you sitting here arguing with people and trying to belittle people? That's not what a true leader does. So anyway, the men got in the comments and somebody basically said, well, what's your body count? I'm paraphrasing again, but that's basically what he asked, which led to this whole thing going left in the comments, and they were going
Yeah.
back and forth at each other because men jumped on that bandwagon like, well, yeah, you talking about a man, if he got a job and he got a car and all this, what's your body count? First of all, that is not 1 + 1 = 2. That's like saying 1 + 10 = 2. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then as the women responded and said, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. She asked an honest question based off her criteria or what she's looking for. Then the men started to say, well, y'all don't even know what y'all want in the first place. How the fuck? So when they got called on that and said, why are you trying to mansplain to a woman how a woman feels? Then it continued to go, and it just got so ignorant that I just stopped reading at that point because I was like, it
Okay.
ain't nothing I can get from this.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about, the divide in our community. Why are we always at each other's
Yeah.
throats? Why do
Yeah.
people feel like they don't have to step up? And I'm paraphrasing all the things that we've talked about thus far, but and just why do so many of us in our community feel like we don't have to step up in true partnership? We're at odds with one another instead of wanting to grow together
Yeah.
and build.
Yeah. Well, I say this right here. I will say sex may not be a gift, a Christmas gift, but if you give it to me, I probably won't return it. I won't take it back.
The
So you're
bad
not
thing
gonna
is you don't know how many times that gift been given or how many times it's been opened.
Hey, let me tell you something. I don't think I'll return it. It's not going back. Perfect size.
Oh my God.
Let me
I,
you say let
I'm
me
the type of person I like. I like gifts. Who doesn't? But mostly I like giving gifts. Um, and I like giving gifts. I like giving things that either you need or something that you have not had or something you just have not experienced. Something like that. And, I, I just like doing stuff like that. Even with my nieces and nephews, I can give them money, but I'd rather give them I took the time and went out and got them a gift. Now I will say my daughter, on the other hand, now she just getting an envelope from the bank. She she has returned enough stuff. I don't like this. I don't like that. And
Mm.
so now her gift is the perfect size, perfect color. It just come in that little envelope directly from the bank. Withdraw.
Can't never go wrong with money. Let the person
No,
get what they want.
Mm.
there you go.
but I'm gonna say this right here. If you are alpha male, you don't need to say you're alpha male. If you're a leader, you don't need to
Those
say
don't.
Y'all know I said that last week. If you an
You
alpha
know,
Yeah.
male
a
and you got
car never has to
self-responsibility
announce
now.
it's a car.
Hmm.
Uh,
you're
A
actually
car never has to announce it's a car.
yeah.
Exactly. That's why I
Now I
said
was
the word
joking with you all
sassy.
last week when I was saying I'm an alpha man because I am. Been
We know that.
yeah, it's because of my fraternity. But
We know that.
Right.
Gypsy
yeah,
was just going at it with you because
yeah,
that's his
yeah,
I'm
I
just
brother.
know.
messing with
Yeah,
you.
That.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. And
we know
Gypsy,
that.
aren't you an alpha woman?
Oh Jesus.
And then
Just you know what?
Gypsy,
We gonna keep
oh,
it moving.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
drink my water and mind my business.
I didn't know. I'm just asking. I don't know. That's what I was
We
just
gonna keep
asking.
it moving.
Okay.
Like I said last week, and like Sean just said, I think that's like a woman having to say, "I'm a good woman," or I'm your crown, or I'm your queen, or I'm your glory, or whatever a woman may think. I
Yeah.
think if you have to explain it for him to understand, then you are not adequately displaying those characteristics and those traits, and you are
Yeah.
not confident and comfortable in them yourself. And I think the same thing about men. That's why I use the word sassy. Like to me, that's not an emotionally mature man's trait to sit
Yeah.
there and be arguing with women and trying to tell a woman how she's supposed to feel and be, carrying on like that. It's like at some point, somebody got to be the adult. So if you're going to say you're an alpha male, walk the fuck away. And here's why I think, going back to your question, Sean, why is there so much division? Because most of us don't know how to practice the art of shut the fuck up. We,
Mm.
most of us are
Yeah.
trying to get the last word in the argument. We're trying to prove a point. We're trying to hurt that person before they hurt us. We're mad because the last person hurt us, so we're trying to take it out on a new person. Like we
Yeah.
just don't know how to sit still, be in our pain, feel our shit, go to therapy and work on it.
Right.
And talk, like you said, come together with, like, again, using the 50-50 argument for a minute. I think that often gets thrown at people when they're trying to talk and get to know each other. Instead, like you said, instead of those two people coming together and saying, tell me what you feel like you're going to bring to the relationship that you desire, and what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you need? What is it that you're expecting from that man or that woman? You, as we're getting to know each other, what are the traits that I possess that you like? Like, there are so many different ways that we can glean information from one another. And you don't have to ask a man about 50-50 or a woman about 50-50. You can just talk to them and listen to what they say to really see where they're at. But we're not talking. Most people are just jumping in bed
Mm-hmm.
or deciding because of maybe outward appearance. Maybe they're not dressed the flyest. I know more millionaires that look like bums.
and that's what
You know what I'm saying? We're basing it off of those things instead of actually
yeah.
getting to know people.
But people don't understand. The people with real money, they don't spend their money on the shit that broke people spend.
Jordan.
You know what I'm saying?
Broke people that have everybody's name plastered on their ass,
Exactly.
hair done to the nine. Seriously, hair done to the nines and pulling up to an apartment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
But
That's
they
why
pulling up
Bahama
to
living in an apartment.
hold on. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. But they pulling up to an apartment, but they driving the Maserati.
yeah,
Yeah.
but rich people
Or they'll do
Makes
this
sense.
now. They can have a house. They can have a house,
and be house
but the
poor.
tax, yeah, house
Yeah.
for the taxes are running late.
Mm-hmm.
They can't keep up with the repairs. The grass always high. They house need paint. The window cracked or broke or a little shutter damaged that don't never get fixed. You got folks, they like that. They overextend themselves. They living beyond their means. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
and other, and I'm going back to when you Jay, you was talking about that word sex. And I'm gonna tell you this is why I don't like that word sex. I don't like anything that is being used almost like either, and not that you all do it. Now, I'm not saying you all do it. It's just I have stuff I have seen out in the public, and this is why that word it stands out to me because I've seen women call men sassy just for men being men. Man say,
Give
"Oh
give
no,
me
I
an
don't like
example.
that." Well, even if a man have his preference about his clothes. I don't like
I got
men who
you.
wear pants like that, pants like those pants, those sassy. Or a
I got
man who keep up with personal hygiene. That's sassy. Hell, come
No,
on,
that
man,
ain't.
just being
That's
clean.
just. I mean, that's just
Not,
being.
not sassy keeping up with your hygiene.
That
That's
Yeah,
ain't sassy.
nah.
No,
yeah.
sassy is acting. Sassy, I hate to tell you, is a lot of these. All right, I'm about to say something that y'all might be like, "What
When
the
do you
fuck?"
ever not say something that
Okay,
we might feel some kind of way about
that
Gypsy?
sassy is these boys that raised by single mothers and act like they mama.
I can
Hey,
feel that.
Gypsy,
That's
what I'm
what
gonna say
sassy.
about that?
That's what sassy is because they don't know how to communicate like a man because they've been around women all their life and
And
they emulate women and they emulate
Gypsy,
women when they talk. They emulate women in their mannerisms, but they're straight.
yeah,
They
and
just
they
sassy.
also this right here, and I hate to say it, and they also overly emotional. They are so emotional. And I'm gonna say this right here. And men, and I tell folks all the time, especially young men, young man that's overly emotional or too emotional as a young man, it'll get you 15 years. 4 seconds of being overly emotional get you 15 years.
Yeah,
4 seconds. And,
yeah.
and I hate saying that. And I really do.
But
Four
that's
It's
seconds.
true.
That's
the
all
truth.
it takes.
That's
It's the
fact right
truth.
there. That's
No, it
fact.
is.
Because
It is.
because they don't because if you don't know how to
Fast
communicate, if you don't know how to communicate in
adult
a
man.
grown an
Yeah.
adult, yeah, in an adult manner,
Look at
and
me and my girl back on track.
basically everything looks like a temper tantrum, yeah, your ass is in trouble. But anywho,
Yeah,
but you still, and those are the same. Let me tell you something. Those are also the same people that when you tell them something bothers you, they deflect or they try to make it your fault. They gaslight.
Mhm.
Um, they don't try to correct it. Like if you're talking about it and you say, like for example, when we talk about sexism again, well, if I tell you that birthdays are important to me and I make an effort on yours and you don't make an effort on mine, you don't give a shit about what I say or what
Yeah,
I think. You only think
that's right.
about you,
That's
yeah.
right.
right? And so those are the people that, like, let's just be honest. The reason that the dating pool has got shit in it is because the people that are in the pool have never grown up enough. They haven't seen successful relationships, and they try to mock what they see on TV, which is fucking toxic.
Yeah.
And then they come in there, and then again, they come in there overly emotional. And if you got everybody in the damn relationship emotional, y'all ain't never gonna get nothing done.
Yeah.
Or they damaged.
Everybody's damaged.
Yeah, everybody's.
Well, this is why I said we all need therapy. I know a lot of us don't want to go to therapy. Let me just throw this out here. I know a lot of us don't want to go to therapy because it's still stigmatized in our community, in our family, in our church. You still got people telling that same old sad ass tale. Go to the pastor. You don't need therapy. Well, first of all, the pastor is not equipped to help you with some of this shit.
And a lot of times, that might be the problem.
Might be the problem. But even if he or she has a good heart, they have great intentions, they may not be equipped to help navigate some of the things that you're experiencing. So you need somebody that is unbiased, objective, and outside the circumstances. That's not gonna tell your mama or your grandma or your auntie them. That's not gonna pressure you because it goes against what they believe the biblical, dictate is. That will hold safe space for you to talk through. And this is why so many of our relationships are such bullshit, because we keep bringing the drama from one relationship to the next, to the next. You got folks right now that are married still punishing they person they've been with 15 years for some bullshit somebody did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You got people that's dating somebody right now, but they still in their mind with the person they was with when they was in 10th grade and they 50 now. You understand?
Yeah.
So this is why I think a lot of our relationships are trash, and why our
man, they truly unhappy too. They truly unhappy.
Right.
Hey, y'all be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you do that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You good. Do that now. But I'm convinced this is why so many of our relationships are struggling, because we are not talking about our pain. We are hiding it away. We're eating it. We're drinking it. We're playing basketball on the court, but we're still not actually talking through the things. We going to the barbershop and the beauty salon talking shit, but we're still not getting the help that we need to navigate. Why are you still angry? A perfect example. I watched The Ultimatum on Netflix.
That's what I've been watching.
I sat down and watched it, and in the third season, there was a gentleman, black couple. There was a gentleman that he had been married before, and she had cheated. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know how far in the past it was, but he wasn't with her no damn more.
So what?
He was with the girl that he was with on the Ultimatum show 3 years. Why the fuck are you still talking about your ex-wife cheated and you hurt? And you're afraid of marriage. And in all that time, he had not gone to damn therapy. So now at the end of the show, he was talking about, I finally got in therapy and I'm working on some things. After you done traumatized yourself more and traumatized her more. And that's part of the problem. We are not getting help.
He needed help. That brother needs some help.
Yeah.
And stop running from person to person before you damn heal.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, but let's do it now. But I want to go back to our question. I know I came on late. Now, and sex as a gift. Now, how many people on here, and even our listeners, and be honest, tell the truth. Have you ever gave sex as a gift? Have you ever said, "Hey"?
When I was young and childish.
I'm gonna tell you, like the only time I gave sex as a gift was like on Valentine's Day, but it was.
Bro, I didn't know men could give sex as a gift.
It wasn't the only thing.
You must have been a gigolo.
It was the rose petals in a nice room for Valentine's Day, but other than but that was the only time that I actually did that.
I have done stuff like that, and man, but I'm gonna tell you, that was maybe I was selfish, but that was for me, bro.
But like
go ahead, son. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I responded to. Oh no, go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
I was just saying I did that because I was young, so I couldn't afford to like actually go somewhere and really do it up. But that was now when you're young, I can understand. But as an adult, you can still have sex, but there should be actual gifts involved. That's my point.
Right.
Well, my response to it, old man, when we talked about it earlier was, and I have. I joked about it, but I was also very serious. So in my long-term relationship, his thing was, shit, you the gift. Like, everything else is extra, and I love that, but you the gift. And so I'm the motherfucking gift, and I don't apologize for that, right? But I also still did do other gifts. because gifts is also a part of my love language. That's how I show my love and my caring and let people know that they're on my mind, whether it's a special occasion or just because, right? But yes, I have been the gift unapologetically.
Now, now the only time I think it's acceptable to give sex as a gift is if you come in with that threesome. And that's mainly
No,
for women. That's the only time I find it acceptable.
no.
Or if you're broke. I'm saying I know some ladies out there that says I ain't got
Now,
nothing. I
at
better
this big
back that
age, you
thing
need to
up.
be nope. At this big age, you need to be trying to get your shit together before you start doing anything
Nah,
else.
if you broke, just say you broke. All right,
Yeah. I'm one of them comments in. I know Cher, she always coming. Cher, have you ever gave it as a gift?
Okay, so let me catch up on the comments. And yes, if you're watching with us live, make sure that you hop in now and tell us, did you ever give some cat or some peen as a gift? And if you're catching the replay, still hop in these comments and let us know what you got going on. Sure said she is disillusioned bonnet lady. Okay, so earlier we were talking about, you said you saw a white lady that said she invented bonnets. Sean, bonnets were invented in Africa and were showcased in LA because the white women were jealous of the black slaves' hair. They had to tie their hair up cleverly. People quick to call girls fast but allow boys to run them. Exactly, we are
Yep,
socialized where boys
absolutely.
get them notches because you a pimp, you a man, whereas girls, you're a hoe, right? You're unclean, you're nasty, you fast. Sure said people, yeah, okay, got that one. Redistrict the areas to drop the property value so less money is being obtained for the students. That
Yep,
too.
they do that all the time.
When
red
we were
line.
talking about the difference in the schools and educations and integration and all that, and sure laughing at you as always.
Yeah,
um
that's what it's called though. Redlining.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
And the new way of them doing redlining right now, a lot of people are finally catching on, is they're doing it through insurance. They
Yeah,
will start talking about the violence in the area and how bad the crime is, and they'll hype it up and do all these things to get people in a panic. And all that does is allow the insurance company to have a justified reason to keep raising the rate. Then you have
yeah,
older people that can't afford the homeowner's insurance. So when something happens to the home, they can't get it fixed. They can't get it rebuilt. You have people with
Right.
health issues, young people starting out because nobody's explaining to them all the things that come along with being a homeowner. So they may get into the home, but like Sean said, they may be house poor. And then you have
yeah,
people that life just knocked the hell out of them. They may have been on track doing well, and then life sucker punched that ass. And
Right.
so, redlining is showing up even now with insurance rates, driving up the insurance every single year, and the taxes making it harder and harder for people to afford to stay in the
Oh,
homes that they've had and
oh,
pass
but wait a
away.
minute. They'll also mess with your property value.
yeah,
That's why I said the
If
taxes.
they-
Oh yeah, the property value too.
No, they'll
Yes,
yeah,
decrease your
the
property
property value. Yes,
value just
yes.
because. Let me tell you something.
When you're
There's
assessing
some
it to sell
neighborhood
it. Yeah, or
there's
refinance.
some neighborhoods like over now. You're familiar with Atlanta. You know down there on the west side, they had decreased the value, and over there by the zoo, they had decreased the value because it was down the street from the federal pen. And
Yep,
then they bought up the neighborhood,
yep.
gentrified it, and now it's unaffordable.
They're doing the same
Still,
thing right here in
and
Birmingham
it's
right now.
and
yeah,
it's still down the street from the pen.
They're
Mm,
doing the same
yeah,
thing right now in Birmingham. They
But that
they
was
will
their
they will assess,
justification before.
yeah, they will assess
it-
your house differently if it's black owned. This is why black owners will
yeah.
take their pictures off the wall and hide their shit when they're getting
Yep.
it
Yeah.
appraised in order to
Hey,
sell it or refinance it.
hey, I still have my real estate license. I used to have clients take they anything, even books.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even have black themed books.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
And I had them go put angels, put
All of
angels
it.
throughout the place. I even had one couple. I shouldn't say this. This was before I was licensed through the state of Alabama. I even had one couple to even put white faces up in the house. Now, keep in mind that was before I was licensed with the state of Alabama.
Let's put that disclaimer out there and be very clear, people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the truth. This is why, and they've done it. They've had appraisers go in And when they knew that it was a black owner, that house appraised very differently and much
Sure
lower
did.
than it was when they thought it was a white owner. That's just the new versions of how they're redlining through the tax assessments on the house, through the insurance rates in the area. Even with car insurance, they're going to do anything that they can think of to make certain areas less desirable to run you out, make it dirt cheap so that people can, the right people, quote unquote, can come in and purchase it up and buy it. And then all of a sudden, it's the new boutique, it's the new it place, it's the new, culture. And you can't even afford to live where your grandparents helped build.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You know what I'm saying?
they coming
Yeah.
in gentrifying and bespoke and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
that very same thing is happening right now here in Birmingham. Same thing they did to Atlanta is what they're doing now here in Birmingham. And they're sneaky. It's
Mm-hmm.
no different than they've done in
Yeah.
every major city where the properties were this. That's why you have the Great White Flight. When too many of us moved in, they left. And then when they decided they wanted to move back closer to the city, now you got the gentrification where they're trying to get us back out the way.
They
You know,
did that up here by Howard University,
Oh
because
yeah.
by Howard, it used to you used to call the cops and they wouldn't come until after the shit was over. And now they be walking their dogs and got outdoor cafes and all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't tell me that it's not happening. It's happening because now they want to take the train and they want walkable neighborhoods and stuff like that. They want to be able to work in the city and not have that far to go home. But that being said, we just
Hold on, Cheryl. I never did hear from Cheryl.
uh-uh.
Cheryl, did you get that gift?
let me
I'm
throw
not
this
gonna
in
let
here
you
to bring
go.
us let me throw this in here to go back to Sean's question and kind of bring us back to topic again. Because I feel like that question that you asked Sean was still tied to the division that we were talking about. Why are we not able to have certain conversations? Why are we not able to come to the table and talk about these things? And, instead of assuming and judging, right? And I think all of these things that we just mentioned all play a role in that. They all factor. Because
Yeah.
let me ask y'all this, and feel free to answer in whatever way makes sense and that you feel safest
Mhm.
in the comments. And you guys, have you ever had a moment where you just felt the anger of life? Nothing necessarily had to happen in that moment, but just being in this black body and all the things, the culmination of all the shit just hit. Have you ever had that moment where the rage was so big that you weren't sure that you could contain it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Most definitely, yeah.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking that is because, and I've been thinking this for a while and trying to kind of figure my way through it, and I listen to people and keep turning it over in my head, but I really think a lot of the shit that we are dealing with now that feels divisive is simply because we don't feel like we have anywhere to let that rage out.
Mm-hmm.
And so we continue to take it out on one another in the conversations that we're having. Instead of seeing each other as allies, we keep looking to other fucking people to be an ally. And then they disappoint us and turn on us. And so we come back and take it out on each other because see, we understand this one thing, most of us do anyway. I can't wild out and whoop their ass the way that I really want to, they being y'all understand. Because I understand I'm going to get the worst part of that treatment, even if I'm in the right and they're in the wrong and I'm justified through self-defense.
Right.
I'm probably the one that's going to end up in jail. So I can't take it out where I want to take it out, where it's justly due. I'm going to take it out on the person that I feel safer giving it to.
Right.
You understand?
And,
And so we end up
I
taking it out
understand
on
that.
one another.
Now I will say I never had a moment where I could just. I don't think I had a moment where I just let out a bunch of just rage, but I have had several moments where I have just let out a moment of just so much joy, amaze, and just of feeling like victory, something that just overcame that I just never would thought would ever happen. One was, I think, one of the first one was the verdict for the OJ Simpson trial. Uh, that was a point that I can recall. Another point was the Million Man March. I can recall that. I can recall the night when Barack Obama won the presidency. Uh, you know, those moments like that really stand out. That I just felt like we as a entire collective of Black America, we shared that pretty much almost had the same feeling at the same time of just overwhelming joy. Even the Michael Jackson trial, I just think so many people just felt now I think I do have one where just like a what the fuck moment, and that was with the Rodney King verdict. That first, when they
Yeah.
told them guys not guilty. I know everybody like, what the fuck that just happened,
Mhm.
But
Oh,
that's why OJ got found innocent.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
he did it.
Yeah. So
I said
so
you
that
know he did
Man,
it.
I don't know.
He did that shit. Fuck out of
so
here.
that's what I'm saying. So you may be an enigma, old man. You may just be one of those
Nah,
never
hey, man.
But he got
Anytime the
off
man
though.
said, I didn't do it, but if I did, this how I would have done it. Oh, come on, man.
Because he did it. He did that
Yeah,
shit. That nigga did it.
so
But he got
yeah,
off.
so so
I
old
was
man,
he
you may
got
be an
off.
enigma. Because
Because
most of the people I know that felt some rage. Okay. We done felt
yeah.
some shit that we didn't have a place to
But
put and we
but
had to figure out how to
but
just work through
keep
it,
in mind, I always believe that as a man, if I lost control, I was gonna either hurt somebody, kill somebody. Because growing up, I'm not gonna lie, I fought and I lost, and I used to get angry a lot. And I always felt like, hey, somebody probably gonna kill me. I always said this: somebody gonna probably go kill me because I was always into it. I was always fighting, and by the way, I was always winning, but I was always fighting. And I figured somebody would go kill me. And I know it was one guy who a couple other people went along, but one guy had saw more in me than I saw myself. That guy's name was Arnold Nelson. Got me to playing tennis. And the one thing about tennis, you cannot show. It's supposed to be a gentleman's sport. You can't be a person of
And
rage.
show
If you
anger.
are, you'll stand out like a sore thumb. Now they do all that stuff all the time. Now, but hey, at the
well,
time,
and
you
you
know,
brought up an excellent point. Let's use tennis and let's use the fact that when Serena Williams finally expressed her outrage at the calls that were being made, justly so. She expressed herself in a just manner. She was called aggressive. They
yeah,
physically painted her in
Mhm.
an
as
overbearing,
an
violent
animal.
looking stature
Mhm.
as like an animal versus the fragile right woman, right? So that literally proves my point of, and the reason I was asking that question as we begin to close this episode out, I really think that a lot of the things that we are dealing with now that still feel divisive are simply because most of us feel that we don't have a safe place to get this shit out. So we hold it in, hold it in, hold it in, and it's like a pot that simmers and goes into a boil, and you keep filling it up. It's going to eventually boil over, and it boils over into the people that are in closest proximity to you.
but
And so we keep the divide growing instead of working on ourselves to heal some of this shit more collectively and more consistently so that we can, because not everybody's divided. There's a lot of us out here trying to work together,
my
but
my
it still
thing
takes
is
time.
my thing is don't you have friends? Because I know like I have friends that they get in a certain situation, they talk to me.
Yeah,
I discuss it with. I'm like, look, man, this is what you need to do. Blah, blah. But they vent, they let it out.
yeah.
Don't you have friends
Mhm.
that you can do? And if you don't, then you definitely need to seek counseling.
Well, I have. You know what? Let me say this. There's a group of men, and of course, Sean. There's certain men that you can talk to. You don't talk to anyone else. You don't talk to a lot of people. There's certain men with men. There's certain men we can talk to, and we share stuff and we go back, and it never comes up again. You know, never. You never hear about it. And there's some folks that guy, I have told stuff that I haven't even told my brother, I hadn't told my family, but I can tell him, and I know it'll never be used against me, and I never hear about it again, and it'll never get out, and it'll never be thrown up in my face. Of course, yeah, we have something like that. I'm talking about this over avert, like like I just won the championship. You know, when they announced that I was at work when they announced OJ not guilty, man, I'm up there jumping up and down, screaming just like Bama just won national championship. Just like when that boy threw that touchdown against Jordan. That's how I was screaming then. But you know, when it comes to emotion now, I don't let something like that out on a regular basis. Because or get angry like that with someone. Because man, you uh, end up in jail. You end up making a bad decision. You end up getting hurt.
You end up going to captain's pass.
You end up getting your ass fired from your job or something like that. And so, but
and let me
when I was in the Navy, the reason I say you'll go to captain's pass, when I was in the Navy, when I was 20, yep, and I still remember her name, but I was on the phone trying to talk to the mechanic about my car, and I was on hold. And she came and put her finger on the damn receiver and hung the phone up. And when I tell you I wore that ass out from one end of the galley is the kitchen, from one end of the galley to the other, and took her ass and threw her off the back dock. Yep, and I wound up going to captain ass, and then I had to go to anger management.
I'm surprised that chick didn't take a swim. She probably would have took a swim.
Well, we was on shore duty. She lucky.
Okay.
And that's my point. We all as Black people, and I'm not saying that other people in the world don't have shit. We all got shit. But everybody else is given space to feel their shit.
You know what? They're given excuses.
But yeah, they're given reasons. I ain't gonna even say excuses, but they're given reasons.
And
I don't want any disrespect by this. But when we look at the Jewish community and all they've done, we're always being told, let's remember what they've gone through. When
Can I remind y'all of something
we have gone through and still experience every day, we are told,
like, why you can't get over it?
You just keep talking about it.
But I heard what y'all said about Serena, but I need y'all to remember that the first person to cut a fucking fool on the tennis court was John McEnroe. And he used to do it on a regular. He used to do it on a regular. He used to throw rackets. He used to kick the fucking net. He used to do all kinds of shit.
I was simply using her because she's a recent example of how they vilify us. When we are just, they still will vilify us in an attempt to get us to behave in a certain way.
Is to make us the villain. That's the only way to keep us down.
Absolutely. And I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that to vilify her. I was using her as an example. She was just in how she felt, Gypsy.
But that's what they do, and that's what they always do, and that's my whole point of why do we need to further that along amongst ourselves?
Yeah,
we need to stop that dumb shit.
I'm gonna give you an example. So this happened to me 2 weeks ago. This literally happened to me 2 weeks ago, and I consider myself well adjusted and well equipped with coping skills and all the things. Right? Shut up, Sean.
Yeah, it sounds like you went off. You went off. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
No, so I did go off, but what happened was I hit a point where it had to come out. So I sat in a room. Y'all, you ever been in a room with people that are just in active trauma and it's so palpable you can reach out and touch it? You understand? So I did a workshop recently, and I'm going to leave it there just for privacy's sake. But I did a workshop recently. And the trauma and the pain in the room was just palpable. You could just touch it in the air. Right? So I'm talking to them about like mental health, getting help, having support, having community, learning how to have the healthy friendships and the boundaries and all the things. And when I left, I didn't realize how much of it had just hit my heart. right? Because I got good boundaries. I know how to leave people shit right where it is. I'm really good at that. I know how to compartmentalize. But I didn't realize how much of it had hit my heart because it mirrored so much of my own childhood. So I left. I came home, changed clothes, hit the walking trail to process it, walk it out. Ooh, I went to sleep. I got up the next morning weeping because it was so heavy. And I was weeping because I understood I had no one to talk to other than my therapist. There are some people that take in so much from everybody else that not a lot of people can hold space for you. Y'all understand? That was the day before my birthday. I woke up on my birthday weeping again the next day because it was so heavy and I didn't want to give it to any of the people that I love. I finally broke down and I talked to my friend and she held space. Now, there's also so much that I can't say because when I'm in session with people, when I'm listening to people, I'm their vault. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot that I will never, ever repeat, whether it's a friend that says it to me or a stranger, a client, whoever. A lot of things I'll never, ever repeat. And the reason I'm saying this is because we have to normalize being able to acknowledge it. There are some things we can't share. There are some things that other people take in. They can't allow anyone else to hold space for. So you have to figure out how to build your own energetic fire, your metaphorical fire, your lake, whatever it is, your trash can, and dump it. You have to find a way to get it out. But there are times when it builds up and it feels too much to contain. Now, some people that shows up as rage. For me, it often shows up as heartache because I'm sitting with people in some of the worst moments of their lives. Whether they just found out somebody was cheating, whether they just had a death, whether they lost a child, whatever it is, I am often sitting with people in the worst moments of their lives. That's literally what I do professionally, right? So when I take this in week after week after week, what hit me, and I'm sharing this in vulnerability in hopes that it helps somebody, but what hit me, I said to a friend a couple of weeks ago, I said this to two different friends, and they both happen to do similar work that I do. They're in different lanes, but we all do something similar, right? And I said to them, the interesting thing was is that the last 5 years from 2019 to now have been really hard because there was a pandemic that happened, a lot of trauma on top of regular life. But even though that seems to be normalizing and kind of balancing out, this year felt harder. This year felt more intense and more painful. And when I said that to them, they both said, you know what? And what I realized is that the safe people are breaking down because we have navigated our own bullshit and then we have still had to take and hold space for everybody else's. And I think that more people are experiencing this and they just don't have words for it. They don't know how to put vocabulary to it. So you got men and women trying to date. You got men and women wanting to get together, and they're all existing in some semblance of discord or chaos or trauma. That's normal. That's human. But what's happening is, as Black people, we are taking this stuff in of everyday life, and then we're dealing with the constant microaggressions of being told you're not enough, or you're too much, you're not doing enough, or you're doing too much, you're not bold enough, you're too loud, you're not strong enough, you're too fucking strong, sit down, you're too intimidating, you're too something, right? So we're trying to navigate all of those things. Because guess what, on the flip side of that, when I have to activate the bitch in me to go be a boss bitch and walk into a corporate space and command a space with 20, 30, 40, 50 or more white people that think they're better than me, even though I have more education than them sometimes, right? Or I'm just as educated as them sometimes, but they're going to automatically assume that because I have a tattoo or because I have short hair or when I have my red mohawk or anything else that they may look out as far as outside presentation. Now I'm on the flip side. Now I'm not holding space and being the safe person. Now I'm having to go into bitch mode or boss mode or something that puts a protective shell around me because 90% of the people in those rooms automatically think I'm not enough. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go in there with a mindset that I have to work harder or I have to do more. I'm going to go in there with a mindset that I'm enough and fuck anybody who thinks I'm not, right? But that still takes effort and energy. And so I think a lot of us, we are suffering, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm not. But I think a lot of people are suffering from having to figure out how to deal with these extremes and not having enough safe space. Because some people do have a friend like you. And when I tell you, hands down, I got some of the best fucking friends in the world, but there's a lot that I will never be able to say to them.
And the only
You
thing
Yeah.
understand?
I could really say to that is, A, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here for
Oh,
any one of y'all because
yes.
I know how that feels. B, even a therapist needs a therapist.
Oh, every day, all day.
You know what I'm saying? So, but also, it is, because you got to carry your own water and to carry somebody else's water too is a job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to compartmentalize and realize that although you carried it, you don't have to bear the brunt of the full weight. And that's
Right.
when, and that ties back to even a therapist needs a therapist. So although you can't get into specifics, you can
Mhm.
share some of the details to alleviate some of the pressure.
Now, don't get me wrong, I have a therapist. Now, I'm gonna scream from the mountaintop every day. We all need a therapist or a coach or somebody that holds safe space and operates as that vault for us. But my point was, and I'm here, and I know that this is a thing because I'm continuing to hear this from other people in the field and in similar fields. What's starting to happen is that life has gotten to be so intense.
Uh-huh.
Most of our nervous systems are shot at this point because of the past
Mhm.
2 years, right? And
Yep.
especially if you operate in a body of color, you're
Mm-hmm.
still navigating all these. And this is where I was going with this. You're still navigating all these things on top of whatever external things we are always being given, right? So we're navigating being black. That's dangerous in itself. We're
Right.
navigating all our own personal stuff, and then we're navigating any societal things. And so my point is, so I believe in therapy and I go faithfully. I've been in therapy for 20 plus years when there's some wrong and when there ain't nothing wrong, because I still think even when things are good, keep that safe space, maintain it, work it. You understand? And I preach that as much as I practice it. But a lot of us are not. So thankfully, I had my therapist to talk to. But that one person, and here's the trick part, and this is why I said not everybody has enough safe people. Because that one session, I would probably need to be in therapy 5 days a week for the rest of my life to really have enough space to pour out the magnitude of shit that I have to take in from everybody else. And when I say take in, I don't mean taking it in and holding it as my own, but even hearing. This is why. So to get serious about this for a minute, because I intended this to be over like 20 minutes ago, but to get serious about this for a minute, this is why first responders and police and therapists and pastors have such high suicidal rates.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It's not always because their life is just so unbearable that they can't take
Right.
it. Sometimes that may be it. But often, I really believe this, often it is because of the magnitude of space that they have held for everyone else. And they didn't have enough safety around them to be able to get enough of it out so that it wasn't building, 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 building. Because if you're pouring out this much, but you got this much sitting here, you understand, you're
Mm-hmm.
always going to be in a deficit. And so a
Yep.
lot of times this is why I walk. People think I'm joking, and I mean this with all sincerity. This is why I have to walk so much, because walking is the thing that allows me to process it out. Even if I'm not talking to anybody, the physical movement, it gives me space to move and move through it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But
I
but
agree. I agree
but
with
so
you.
many people don't have that. And I think this
Yeah.
is why many of us are at odds, because they haven't found the thing that does it. Like, I know walking does it for me. People haven't found that, or they haven't found the people, or they told the wrong person, like old man brought up previously. They told the wrong person and it came back up.
Yeah.
and it was weaponized.
Yeah.
And so then when they get to the person like you that says, I'll listen, guess what has happened now? They don't trust you. They get to me, that person that will listen,
Right.
they don't trust us. So now they're still holding it in.
Mm-hmm.
And now we are like loaded bullets at each other instead of being able to adequately communicate. And then add on to that, many of us are not being taught communication skills at home.
That's true. No,
So
that's
we
true.
get out here in the world and in the street and we figured it out on the fly. We get it out the mud, basic communication skills.
But
So we're at odds.
that's also our personalities. That has a lot to do with our personalities. But I agree with you, and I always tell people you gotta have a hobby.
Oh,
Yeah.
Whatever,
very true.
you know,
Right now, this is my hobby.
there's
Come in here.
there's still hobbies that I haven't even gotten into, but like I mainly enjoy cooking because that takes my mind off a lot of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I've had people tell me some crazy things. That
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you walking around and not seeking professional help?
Yeah.
You
But
know,
it's stigmatized. How many people are still saying, go talk to the pastor? Don't tell our business. Don't put our business in the
Right.
street. And I'm not saying it's right because at some point you got to think for yourself. But some people are so inundated and they can't think outside the hive mind of their family or their community. And so they're still stuck in that mindset that don't. And then, unfortunately, there are a lot more black therapists and counselors out there now, but still not quite as prevalent as non-black people and non-black people, non-people of color. And so a lot of people don't want to go because they've had a bad experience with a non-black therapist or a non-person of color. They felt judged, they felt unsafe. So that's another barrier that ends up keeping them from getting that support and that help. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
and I feel
So
you that you can't. I don't know what the correct answer is. The only thing I can say
yeah,
is continue to seek help. Don't just
Yeah.
write it off
absolutely.
because you had a bad experience. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you want to equate it to that, when you had sex one time is a bad experience, did you write sex off? No, you
Ah,
You know
you
they didn't.
you kept going. So it's
You
the
figured
same.
it out.
I just wrote that one off.
Yeah, it's the same thing with anything else. Just
They
it's
didn't go
just
back for the
therapy.
community peen. They got a new peen or a new vagina.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And that's why I was willing to share in that vulnerability. I got through that moment because I chose to share what I could to the people that are safe to me. I talked with my therapist and talked through some more of it. And I got my ass out on that walking trail because I know that is the thing that allows me to physically move through it. Right. And this is why I walk daily. It can't be something that you just do every once in a while.
Right.
You have to find the things that regularly help you. But so many people, let me throw this that added layer, and then we can talk more about this next week if we need to. But another layer to that is that so many people are in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode and you feel like you're barely keeping your head above water, there are so many people that cannot think beyond the things that they're doing right there in that moment. They don't have space to think about therapy or adding any other bill to their plate as far as because it's easy for us to say get a therapist, me included, I say it. But we have to think about all the people that either A, don't have insurance and can't afford it, the people that have insurance and can't afford it because the copay is too high, out of pocket, or the deductible, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or they've tried therapy, and and this is the thing, you might have to go through 5 or 6 of them before you
Right.
find the right fit. But so
Exactly.
many
Absolutely.
after the first or the second one, there are so many things. But this is why I personally think there's a lot of shit podcasts out there, yes. But this is why I personally think a lot of the podcasts are helping, including ours, because we're having conversation. Gypsy has cried on here. I have cried on here.
Mhm.
You and Old Man have shared your perspective. Benny has shared his
Mhm.
perspective when he joins us. Q and Michael have shared their perspective when they join us. And we don't shy away from the hard topics and the uncomfortable conversations. We may have to work our way through them.
Right.
I think that we continue to display that even though it may be painful or uncomfortable, sometimes you have to sit in it in order to get to the other side of it to be
That's
okay.
true. I mean, but that's the thing. You gotta go through it to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what
Absolutely.
people don't understand. Like, although you might feel a certain way, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the stuff we try to tell you is to help you. And so when we say therapy, trust me, it's not. We just not throwing it out there just to say it.
Right.
Right.
Think at least think about it. Try
At
it.
least think about it, y'all.
The
Get some
first time
support.
might not be good. The second time might not be good. Hell, the third time might not be good.
Right.
But it's just like friends. That's the easiest way to equate it. Friends. You meet somebody, you think they might be a good friend, then you find out they're not.
They trash.
You know what I'm saying? And you do that a couple of times until you meet somebody that's really a good friend. So you
And
might
let's be clear, y'all. There's some trash therapists and counselors out there too, just like anything else, but there's also a lot of good ones. And you, like Sean is saying, and like Gypsy has said in the past as well, and I believe, old man, you've said it as well in the past too. You know, we have to continue to move beyond the bad experiences. But I think you're using the analogy of sex as a great experience. Most people ain't giving up because they had 1 or 2 bad experiences or trash experiences. They're like, oh, on to the next. And we have to have that same mindset when it comes to finding the people to help us. Let me catch up on these comments real quick and go ahead and close this out, because we've been talking an hour and 46 minutes, y'all.
Right.
Hopefully Cher would have chimed in. I'm trying to see what she got to say.
She said the makeup sex crew on the panel.
Hey, understand that one. Yeah, I understand that one.
You're gonna have to come back and clear that one up for us, sir.
We ain't talking about makeups. We talking about that Christmas thing.
Yes, okay, at Homewood, Rosewood, Norwood. Yes, they are gentrifying the hell out of it and trying to push us out. Then had a nerve to walk through Howard University. She said, "Oh man, are you asking personally?"
Yeah.
It's not like old man.
Local. Old man. Local old man.
Hey,
and then wait a minute now. Can we talk about Offset and Cardi B relationship goals?
Relationship goals? I don't know relationship goals for me. They toxic as shit.
Facetious, girl. Are you being facetious? Because what are we talking about?
Yeah, we can talk about relationship goals 101, but Offset and Cardi, we not talking about them. Nah.
They toxic as shit. Break up every other week, arguing on Facebook and shit. No, that ain't no damn goal of mine to have my shit all plastered all over the damn internet.
With that, we're gonna ask you one final time, my loves.
Like, share, subscribe.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Christmas.
Whatever way you want, but
yes.
What we will do is we will see you next week on the countdown day. We're gonna see you on the 31st.
Now, y'all
we'll be here.
Hey, and keep in mind, ladies, me and Sean, we taking all gifts. We ain't returning any of those gifts back. Sean, you returning any of it back?
I mean,
it didn't even gotta be wrapped. You just want the gift.
Hey, and you didn't even gotta wrap it.
Oh my God.
I'm good.
With that, we love you. Thank you, guys.
We love you.
Mwah. Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
Everyone have a Merry Christmas.
So